Free fall. Free fall. Mr. Scott Rockfield.
There are many professions out there. You've got teachers, lawyers, doctors. But one of the strangest professions I find is scientists. And I can speak because I work with a lot of scientists, and though I'm an engineer, and I'm sure if there are scientists in the room, they're going to start saying, oh, here comes another engineer talking about how bad scientists are, but I'm going to make a point with this. Take this one group of Baylor scientists, for instance. They wanted to find out how people's minds work. Sounds simple enough, but here's the twist. They wanted to find out how people's minds work when they're scaring you to death. Ha! And I'm not talking about the type of fear that you get when you go to haunted houses, or you're riding roller coasters, or even from aliens, which, by the way, they do exist. I'm talking about the type of fear that you get when you realize these are the last few breaths of your life. Can you imagine? How do these doctors simulate this type of fear? Drag them up 15 stories, put them to the edge of the building, no, I don't, ah! And push them over the edge. Free fall. 15 stories. Besides funny YouTube videos, though, the scientists did get something out of this. They found out that under these cases of extreme fear, your memory goes into overdrive. So you start to remember everything that's running through your head in those few seconds. So a few seconds can seem like a few minutes, a few hours, or even eternity. Unfortunately, I did not have to fall 15 stories to find out what eternity would feel like. No. I just had to have a conversation with my girlfriend. It started out simple enough. We were talking about, I don't remember. But I do remember when she turned to me and she said, Scott, I will be married in less than a year. Physically, I froze. But mentally, my mind was running. That statement just hit me out of nowhere, and all I could think about were the things I've learned about marriage from my friends, from my marriage, and even just from my own personal experiences. But let me start off with a couple of my friends. One of my friends is happily married, has 2 beautiful kids, been married for 8 years. We'd be hanging out every now and then, and his wife would call and pick up the phone. Hello? Yes? Okay, I'll remember to leave the toilet seat down. All right. Okay, bye-bye. Scott, don't do it. I thought surely he must be kidding. But he reassured me after several times. No, he was being serious. Okay, that's a bit strange. That's a bit extreme. So I was talking to my other friend about this as well, and he had some sage advice. Scott, marriage lasts forever. It's a long time, so don't rush. Just don't rush into it. And I thought, that's good. You know, he's right. And then my mind really started wandering. I started thinking, marriage is for forever. And gosh, what if eventually I get sick of this person? And then, as if reading my mind, my friend turns to me and says, you know, eventually she will get sick of you. Me? Me? I mean, look at me. I'm tall, I'm strong, got good hair. Who would get sick of me? But regardless, it got me to think. It's like, well, maybe I'm not, you know, maybe people would get sick of me. I don't know. But my parents, they've never gotten sick of me. What do my parents have to say about marriage? I'm sure they would have a different perspective. Well, talking to my mom, and she, now Scott, you know, marriage is just so unnatural. Unnatural? What are you talking about? Unnatural? What? That's not the advice I'm supposed to get from my parents. What about true love, your soulmate, someone to watch football with you all day on Sunday? No, I'm sorry, sweetie, that just doesn't exist. Wow, that's a heavy load. I mean, I thought my parents would at least lie to me, but no, unfortunately, they love me too much. So what have I learned about marriage? I have heard that marriage is like a circle. Everyone who's not married wants to be in the circle, and everyone who is married wants to die. Is there really anything good about marriage? And now I'm struggling here because there has to be. There has to be something good about marriage. There has to be some successful married couples out there. And then, I think, well, Bill and Hillary Clinton are still married. I'm sure that's something. They figured something out, right? And I think, too, if marriage is a challenge, if it's that difficult, I can do it. I like a challenge. There's a mountain, I'll climb it. There's a marriage that needs to be married, what? No. Hold on, what am I saying to myself? And then I start to think that my girlfriend's statement wasn't just out of the blue. This was premeditated. She's been thinking about this for a long time. And now I really start to feel like I'm free falling. And I snap back out of it. It's been maybe 1-2 seconds. And I look at my girlfriend and she's got a camcorder up and laughing. She's like, I'm going to put this on YouTube.